After 50, a woman's estrogen levels can drop by up to 60%, and more than 70% of postmenopausal women report that orgasms feel weaker or harder to reach. But here's the truth, this doesn't mean the end of your intimate life. Science shows that with the right adjustments, pleasure in your 50s and beyond can be just as powerful, sometimes even stronger, than it was in your 30s. I'm Dr. Eliza Hart, a women's health specialist with over 15 years of experience, helping women navigate menopause, hormone changes, and sexual wellness. Over the years, I've guided thousands of women who once believed their best intimate years were behind them. What I've seen again and again is that the body never loses its potential for pleasure. It simply asks for a new approach. As estrogen declines, vaginal tissues may become thinner, less elastic, and produce less lubrication. Blood flow to the pelvic area can decrease, and pelvic floor muscles may weaken over time. These changes explain why arousal can feel slower and orgasms less predictable. But here's the encouraging part. The clitoris, with more than 8,000 nerve endings, remains fully capable of responding. With the right stimulation and positions that work with your biology today, intimacy can become easier, more reliable, and more fulfilling. That's why in this video, I'll reveal 5 positions backed by science that help women over 50 climax more consistently. And I'll also share one crucial adjustment often overlooked that can transform any position into a more orgasm-friendly experience. Before we begin, make sure you're subscribed, and please help me reach my first 1,000 subscribers so I can continue growing this channel. And I'd love to hear from you. Type 1 in the comments if you find this kind of honest conversation valuable. 1. Understanding your body after 50 and the clitoral secret. When women reach midlife, many begin to notice that their bodies respond differently to intimacy. After the introduction we just shared, the natural question becomes, what exactly changes inside the body and why does it matter so much for pleasure? This is the foundation that allows us to approach intimacy not with fear, but with clarity and confidence. One of the most significant biological shifts is the decline in estrogen, the hormone that helps keep vaginal tissues elastic, hydrated, and sensitive. By the time a woman is in her 50s, estrogen may fall by more than half compared to earlier decades. This decrease often leads to dryness, thinner tissue lining, and less natural lubrication. The result is not the disappearance of pleasure, but a body that now requires more deliberate attention. Another change relates to circulation. Blood flow to the pelvic region, which fuels arousal and heightens sensitivity, can diminish with age. Without strong circulation, it may take longer to feel aroused, and reaching climax can seem unpredictable. Combined with the gradual weakening of pelvic floor muscles, which are responsible for the contractions during orgasm, it is understandable that many women describe intimacy as different than before. Yet here lies the hopeful truth: the clitoris, the central organ of female pleasure, remains fully capable throughout life. With its network of over 8,000 sensory nerve endings, it retains the same potential for powerful stimulation, whether a woman is 25 or 75. What research consistently shows is that most women, especially after menopause, are far less likely to reach orgasm from penetration alone. In fact, clinical studies published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine report that up to 80% of postmenopausal women require direct clitoral stimulation to achieve climax. It is also important to recognize the role of the nervous system in this stage of life. Stress, fatigue, and hormonal fluctuations can heighten activity in the sympathetic nervous system, which is the part of the body linked to vigilance and alertness. When this system is dominant, the body is less able to relax into arousal. Practices that calm the nervous system, deep breathing, mindfulness, or gentle pelvic floor exercises can therefore enhance responsiveness and make clitoral stimulation even more effective. This understanding shifts the conversation entirely. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" the real question becomes, "How can I work with my body as it is today?" Once you see that your capacity for pleasure is not gone, but simply waiting for the right kind of attention, you can let go of shame and focus on possibility. With this foundation in place, we can now look at practical ways to apply this knowledge. Simple adjustments that allow your body to respond fully and naturally. 2. Position number 1. Missionary with pillow support. After understanding the biological shifts of midlife, the next question is how to translate that knowledge into practical adjustments. The simplest starting point is not to abandon what feels familiar, but to enhance it with a small change that makes a big difference. That is why the traditional missionary position with a thoughtful modification becomes one of the most effective tools for women over 50. The adjustment is straightforward. Place a firm pillow beneath the hips. This minor change alters the angle of penetration, tilts the pelvis, and directs stimulation toward the front vaginal wall, an area where the G-spot is located. From a scientific perspective, this angle increases friction in regions that remain highly sensitive even after menopause, while also compensating for natural changes in elasticity. For many women, this is enough to restore sensations they thought had faded. Clinical studies have confirmed the value of this approach. A 2019 survey of postmenopausal women found that nearly 70% experienced greater intensity and satisfaction when the pelvis was elevated during intercourse. This was not due to the position itself being novel, but because the anatomical alignment optimized stimulation of nerve-rich tissues. In other words, the body had not lost the capacity for pleasure, it simply needed the right angle to unlock it. The benefits extend beyond sensation. By supporting the hips and lower back, the pillow reduces strain on joints, which is particularly important for women managing arthritis or stiffness. Comfort is not a luxury in intimacy, it is a prerequisite. When the body feels physically supported, the nervous system is more likely to relax, allowing arousal to unfold naturally. A relaxed state also encourages greater blood flow to the pelvic region, reinforcing the very circulation that can diminish with age. Patients often describe this adjustment as a rediscovery. Instead of feeling that intimacy has become limited, they realize that with a slight shift, the body responds eagerly. It is not about returning to the past, but about evolving intimacy to meet present needs. And once you experience how a simple pillow can transform a familiar position, it becomes easier to see how taking more control of your own movement can amplify satisfaction even further. That brings us naturally to the next approach, one that emphasizes female agency in the most empowering way. 3. Position number 2. Woman on top with forward lean. After exploring how a simple pillow can reshape a familiar position, the next step is to consider what happens when you take a more active role. Many women in midlife find that intimacy feels more satisfying when they have greater control over pace and depth. This is not just a matter of preference, it reflects biological realities after menopause. One of the most effective ways to embrace this control is through the woman on top position enhanced by a slight forward lean. From a physiological standpoint, leaning the body forward changes two critical elements. First, it shifts penetration toward the front vaginal wall, the same area rich in sensory receptors that often benefits most from stimulation in later decades. Second, the forward tilt naturally brings the clitoris into closer contact with the partner's body. This dual stimulation, internal and external, matches what studies consistently confirm the majority of women over 50 need clitoral involvement to climax. By leaning forward, you create the alignment that allows both sources of stimulation to work together. Equally important is the psychological dimension. Many women describe this position as liberating because it places the rhythm, depth, and pressure entirely in their hands. Instead of waiting for arousal to build passively, they can guide the experience, actively adjusting in real time to what feels best. This sense of agency reduces anxiety about whether their body will respond and replaces it with confidence that they are directing the process. In clinical practice, women often report that this single change restored not just their ability to climax, but their overall sense of sexual self-assurance. Comfort is another significant advantage. By being on top, women can move in ways that avoid pain in the hips, knees, or lower back. This control minimizes strain and allows for a gentler, more sustainable pace. When intimacy feels physically comfortable, the nervous system relaxes and arousal unfolds with less resistance. The body's own physiology reinforces the pleasure, creating a positive feedback loop that builds satisfaction naturally. Once women experience the combined benefits of control, comfort, and clitoral alignment, they often discover sensations that feel both familiar and new at the same time. It is a reminder that intimacy after 50 does not have to shrink. It can expand when approached with insight. And after exploring this empowering role reversal, the next step is to look at a position designed to maximize closeness, comfort, and tenderness without sacrificing the possibility of climax. 4. Position number 3, spooning. After experiencing the empowerment of taking control, many women also crave a position that emphasizes ease, gentleness, and emotional connection. Intimacy is not always about intensity. At times, what the body and mind need most is comfort and closeness. The spooning position, where both partners lie on their sides in the same direction, creates precisely this balance, satisfying the need for physical tenderness while still making climax possible. From a biomechanical perspective, spooning reduces pressure on weight-bearing joints. For women who may deal with arthritis, hip stiffness, or lower back discomfort, this is a position that removes the barrier of pain. By aligning the bodies naturally, penetration can occur without the downward force that sometimes causes strain in other positions. This makes it easier to sustain intimacy for longer periods without fatigue or discomfort disrupting arousal. What makes spooning particularly effective for postmenopausal women is how it accommodates clitoral stimulation. With the partner positioned behind one hand, remains free to gently stimulate the clitoris while penetration continues. This combination reflects what we know from clinical data. Most women after menopause climax more consistently when clitoral and vaginal stimulation occur together. In this position, both elements can be blended seamlessly without requiring awkward adjustments. Equally important is the psychological reassurance spooning provides. The feeling of a partner's chest pressed against the back, the warmth of an embrace, and the quiet space for whispered words all contribute to reducing stress and increasing oxytocin, the hormone associated with bonding and relaxation. This hormonal shift can quiet the inner critic that sometimes interferes with arousal, allowing the body to surrender to sensation. Women often describe this position as restorative rather than demanding. The slower rhythm, the sense of being held, and the ability to combine tenderness with effective stimulation make it an option that addresses both physical and emotional needs. It reminds us that climax is not only about technique, it is also about creating the right environment for the body to respond. Before we move forward, I'd love to know your perspective. Do you find intimacy more fulfilling when it feels tender and connected, or when it feels energetic and bold? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every response, and your experiences help guide future videos to better serve women just like you. And once we've explored this softer, more restorative approach, it becomes exciting to consider what happens when novelty enters the picture. That leads us into a position that shifts perspective dramatically, both literally and figuratively. 5. Position number 4, reverse cowgirl. While spooning highlights intimacy through closeness and comfort, there are moments when variety and novelty become the spark that reignites desire. Introducing a position that feels different, not only physically, but also emotionally, can break patterns of predictability and bring back a sense of adventure. The reverse cowgirl, where the woman is on top but facing away from her partner, is one of the most effective ways to create this shift. From a medical standpoint, this position offers unique anatomical benefits. Facing away changes the angle of penetration, allowing more direct stimulation of the anterior vaginal wall. This area often becomes increasingly important for women after menopause, as sensitivity in other regions may decrease. By adjusting posture, leaning slightly forward, or remaining upright, women can decide whether to emphasize G-spot contact or clitoral engagement. The ability to vary angles within the same position provides flexibility that supports different needs on different days. Equally meaningful is the psychological impact. Many women in their 50s and 60s express concerns about body image or self-consciousness during intimacy. Facing away can reduce this sense of being scrutinized, creating space to focus inward on sensation rather than outward appearance. Interestingly, research on sexual satisfaction shows that when women feel less pressure about how they look, they are more likely to reach orgasm. Thus, reverse cowgirl is not simply about mechanics, it's about freeing the mind to engage fully in pleasure. The element of novelty should not be underestimated. Couples who have shared decades together often benefit from reintroducing playfulness and surprise. Trying a position that feels unconventional can stimulate dopamine release, the neurotransmitter linked to curiosity and reward. This chemical boost adds to arousal and makes the experience feel fresh even within a long-term relationship. Comfort remains important, and women can pace the movement to protect knees and hips from strain. A firm mattress or supportive cushions can make the position sustainable. When physical support is in place, the body is more likely to relax into the rhythm, enhancing both comfort and intensity. By combining new angles, increased control and psychological freedom reverse. Cowgirl demonstrates that passion after 50 is not diminished. It is simply waiting to be rediscovered in unexpected ways. And after exploring the excitement of novelty, it is only natural to ask what happens when intensity and surrender are blended together. That is where our next position offers an entirely different dimension of pleasure. 6. Position number 5, edge of the bed. After exploring novelty through the reverse cowgirl, the next consideration is intensity. Some women want a position that feels more stimulating without requiring strenuous effort. The edge of the bed is one of the most effective ways to achieve this, combining deeper penetration with easier access for external stimulation, all while keeping the body supported. The setup is simple. The woman lies on her back close to the edge of the mattress with her hips positioned right at the border, while the partner stands or kneels on the floor. This arrangement changes the mechanics of penetration significantly. Gravity now works in favor of sensitivity, directing blood flow toward the pelvic region and enhancing arousal. The angle also allows the partner to reach areas of the vaginal wall that may be less accessible in other positions, maximizing stimulation in tissues that remain highly responsive after menopause. What makes this position particularly valuable for women over 50 is the opportunity for combined stimulation. With the clitoris easily accessible, the partner can use hands or oral contact to provide direct attention while penetration continues. Clinical surveys confirm that this dual focus is often the difference between reaching climax and falling short. In fact, research highlights that women who combine clitoral and vaginal stimulation report higher satisfaction rates across all age groups, and the effect becomes even more pronounced after menopause. Another benefit of the edge of the bed position is physical support. Because the woman's back and shoulders remain anchored on the mattress, there is no need to hold tension in the core or legs. This reduction in muscular effort allows the body to relax and concentrate on sensation. For women who carry fatigue, stiffness, or joint limitations, this comfort can transform the experience from challenging to enjoyable. Emotionally, the position offers a sense of both surrender and intensity. Being able to lie back and simply receive can feel deeply restorative, especially for women who spend much of their lives in caregiving roles. At the same time, the heightened angle and direct access can bring a surge of stimulation that feels fresh and invigorating. It is this combination, rest and passion together, that makes the edge of the bed uniquely powerful. Having seen how small adjustments can make a dramatic impact, we can now step back and look at the overarching principle that ties all of these strategies together. The final insight is not a new position, but a reminder of the essential key that unlocks pleasure at any age. Now that we've covered 5 science-backed positions, the next step is understanding how to apply them in a way that feels realistic and sustainable. The goal is not to rush or force results, but to create gradual, supportive changes that help your body adapt comfortably. First, lubrication is essential. After menopause, estrogen decline reduces natural moisture, which can make intimacy uncomfortable and even discourage arousal. Using a high-quality, water-based lubricant is not a luxury, it is a medical recommendation. It minimizes friction, prevents micro-tears in delicate tissue, and allows pleasure to unfold without pain interfering. Second, pelvic floor exercises are one of the most powerful tools available. Daily Kegel practice, even for just 5 minutes, strengthens the muscles that contract during orgasm. Stronger pelvic muscles mean more blood flow, greater sensitivity, and more intense climaxes. Think of it as training the very system that supports sexual response. Third, try one new adjustment or position at a time. Rather than attempting everything at once, focus on experimenting slowly. Perhaps begin with the pillow-supported missionary for a week, then add in the forward-leaning woman on top. Keeping a simple journal of what feels comfortable and what brings more sensation can provide valuable insights and help you communicate clearly with your partner. Finally, prioritize relaxation before intimacy. Gentle breathing exercises, stretching, or even a warm bath can quiet the nervous system and shift the body toward receptivity. Remember, the more relaxed you are, the more responsive your body becomes. By making these small intentional adjustments, you transform intimacy into an experience that reflects both your current biology and your enduring capacity for pleasure. As we reach the end of this conversation, I want to remind you of the central truth that guided us from the very beginning. Pleasure does not disappear with age, it simply evolves. After 50 changes in hormone circulation and muscle tone can alter how your body responds. But these shifts are not signs of loss. They are invitations to approach intimacy differently, with more understanding and more care. We began by acknowledging the natural decline in estrogen and the impact it has on vaginal tissue lubrication and arousal. We then highlighted the clitoris, the most powerful organ for female pleasure, that remains fully capable of delivering satisfaction throughout your entire life. That simple fact alone should replace discouragement with hope. From there, we walked through 5 positions that science has shown to be especially effective for women in midlife and beyond. Whether it was the pillow-supported missionary, the empowering woman on top, the comfort of spooning, the novelty of reverse cowgirl, or the intensity of the edge of the bed, each position demonstrated that small adjustments can unlock powerful results. The takeaway is clear: with the right knowledge and a willingness to adapt, your body still holds the capacity for deep, reliable, and joyful climax. My advice is to approach these strategies with patience, to communicate openly with your partner, and above all, to treat your body with compassion rather than judgment. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's video gave you new insight or encouragement, please like it. Share it with another woman who might need to hear this message, and subscribe to support this channel. Together, let's normalize the truth. Pleasure has no expiration date.